Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, it's 6 p.m. So we're a couple days off of where we normally start the show. We usually are Mondays at 6 p.m., but we've had some stuff going on lately. We ended up on Tuesday, we ended up on Wednesday this week, so sorry. Thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate it. But next week we plan to be back to our regular time, Monday night at 6 p.m. So this is... Well, we are No Bones About Wrestling. This is AEW Weekly. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Asa. And this is my permanent co-host, Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And we're going to talk about everything that was this week in AEW. That's how we do it here. Do some TV recaps. We have a couple segments. We have a couple new segments for you. And... we'll do our famous wrestling top 5 rankings as well. So let's get right to it.
Sounds good.
And did you have stuff for the holy shit segment?
Do you not?
I'll figure it out.
I mean, I can just go if you want. You can just wing it.
Forgot I was on camera and I just put candy in my mouth. Give me a second.
Do you want me to start things off?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, AEW Dynamite was on May 8th, Wednesday, in Alberta, Canada. It starts with TNT champ Adam Copeland walking in, and the interviewer asking him if he's ready for Brody King tonight. He said his mind has been wandering into places I don't want it to. Cope also says he just got off the phone with Tony Khan and that it is now a no DQ match. So this is his second match against a House of Black member 2 weeks in a row. And so we will be getting to that later tonight. But up next we have Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta, former members of the faction Best Friends.
So when Copeland says his mind's been wandering into places he doesn't want to go, what do you think he's talking about?
Well, I know you think he's becoming a vampire.
I hope he's becoming a vampire again.
I think he's just like Malachi spit the black mist. That's hard to say. Into his face.
Spit the black mist.
Yeah. Into his face like 2 weeks ago, I think, at this point. And so I think it's having the Julia Hart effect, like it did on Sky Blue, where he's like slowly going to turn into a moody teenager, and he's going to get all pouty and have black eyeliner drips down his face.
I think his might be a little more serious, actually.
I hope so, because they could have gone in such a cool direction with that with Sky Blue, and like it's like they thought about it and then just didn't, and they could have. I mean, it really could have been cool. So. I like that they're not giving up on this idea. It seems a little odd that, like, how many people's faces has mist been spit into by him at this point that, like, now all of a sudden it's affecting them? Yeah. They should have done that from the very beginning, but I guess there's no change.
Or maybe he just gained these new powers.
Yeah, but then they need to show that with him and, like, Satan chatting or something.
I agree. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about Adam Copeland in a bit here. Mm-hmm. So Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. They fought through the crowd, and Don Callis came out even. Beretta pulled off a turnbuckle pad, and so did Cassidy. Cassidy pulls Beretta into the turnbuckle pad and pins him.
Into the lack of turnbuckle pad.
Right. Into the exposed turnbuckle. Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm. And pinned him. And it was a good match by these two. Trent Beretta's been doing very well lately, and of course Cassidy is always good. 4 bones out of 5 on this match. After the match, Trent Beretta pile drive Cassidy on the steel ring steps. This has been a spot that there's been controversy about this week. People say Orange Cassidy no-sold it, and they've been debating, what equals selling, when do people need to sell more, when do they need to sell less, all those kind of debates. And I'll say this, there is a selling problem in AEW, definitely. If I had to pick one thing And I love AEW, you know, obviously. But if I had to pick one thing to fix for them, it would be selling. Definitely. They have some people who don't sell much. Some people don't sell properly. Some people sell like inconsistently. You know, as far as what they'll sell, for how long they sell it. You know, you gotta be consistent with shit. People need to believe that the bigger moves hurt more. That's how it works. So they could really, the roster. I mean, the veterans obviously are not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about some of these younger folks. You know, the Acclaimed, Darby Allin, people like that. You know, younger ones. But yeah, they could use some help with selling. So anyway, Trent Beretta pile drives Cassidy onto the steel ring steps. And Cassidy grabs a steel chair. Don Callis leads him off, though. Again, he leads him off stage. Trent Beretta comes around with an ammunition box. And Chris Statlander comes down to stop him. And he tells Statlander to shut the fuck up.
What do you think was in the box?
I don't know what was in the box. Yeah, you don't usually see an ammo box at a wrestling event.
Grenade. That's my guess.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's becoming unhinged. He's just going to blow everything up.
He is becoming unhinged.
I've never really seen anything besides ammo stored in an ammo box. I'm sure you could, I mean, it's a box. I'm sure you could use it for other things. But like
Pogs.
Pogs?
Pogs.
You think that's his Pog collection?
Maybe.
From like 1997?
Maybe.
All of his heavy slammers are in there. Kids, if you don't know what Pogs are, you should Google them.
Yeah, Google
They're
Pogs. Next, the Elite arrive, and they take Tony Khan's parking spot even because they say he's not going to be there.
Can I point out the stupidity of this? Why would they hang a sign up at this location that the parking spot is reserved for Tony Khan when everybody knows Tony Khan isn't going to be there? Like, why waste that piece of paper?
Maybe they were just hoping. They were hopeful.
That the man who said he's too injured to travel would suddenly be okay and would show up without telling anyone?
Yeah. Maybe they were hopeful. Hope's a valuable thing, Kay.
That's what kills you.
No.
Yeah, according to Ted Lasso, hope's what kills you. Well, he didn't show up, so their hoping did not do any good.
So they take his parking space. After that, we get a Kenny Omega speech highlight video from when he came and informed the audience about his illness and then got his ass beat by the Elite. Got stretchered out and then got his ass beat some more. We then got an after Dynamite last week look. Jack Perry cut a very good promo on Kenny Omega and says, we all must make sacrifices and you just made yours. And so Perry has I don't know. I guess he has a bone to pick with Kenny Omega. Is that what they're going to do?
It's unclear. I don't understand what role Kenny plays in this.
It makes it seem pretty clear to me.
Well, but like, what is his bone to pick? Like, what could you have against Kenny Omega?
Yeah, true.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I agree. Speaking of Kenny, next we get him from the emergency room, and he says, and this is when Kenny Omega demands Anarchy in the Arena, May 26th at Double or Nothing, the Elite versus FTR and two others. Omega, of course, still not cleared. Well, storyline anyway, kayfabe, not cleared to wrestle. So yeah, those are the Anarchy in the Arena teams. The Elite, which is Perry, Okada, and the Young Bucks versus FTR and two others.
Can I complain briefly about this? It's super brief.
Right.
You should never do a hospital scene where there's no machines beeping. Have those people never been in a hospital? Like, zero beeps happening from any of the machines that he's hooked up to. Like, you want us to believe he's in a hospital. Yeah, you put him in a hospital bed. He's wearing a hospital gown. Nothing's making any sound.
Good point.
Not believable.
Good point.
Yeah.
Very beepy place.
Yeah.
Next, Tony Schiavone is with Serena Deeb. And the crowd kind of not into it. And they start chanting about the Oilers, this NHL hockey team there in Edmonton. And it's kind of rude to Serena Deeb. But I thought it was a decent enough promo.
I understand their distractibility.
Well, Tony Storm comes out and interrupts. I have no idea what I wrote next.
Awesome.
Oh, Deeb. Deeb KOs Tony. She knocks her out.
Well, Tony goes like she's going to hit Serena. Like, it's not a... Serena didn't instigate the contact.
Right. But Serena finished it. The fight. She didn't start it, but she finished it, as they say.
Just laid her out.
Next, Lexi is with Orange Cassidy. He's nursing his wounds. Rocky Romero comes in and says Tony Khan told him that if he beats Jay White, that he and two partners get a unified World Trios title match. Yeah, I'm not sure how interested Orange Cassidy was. He seemed to be in a bit of pain. Didn't really seem to care about a match at the moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we had Mariah May versus Harley Cameron, accompanied by Saraya. I guess they're the new outcasts. Those two are the outcasts.
Can I say something about the Rocky thing real quick before you move on?
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense because last week they made a point of Rocky having a segment telling Trent and Orange that he's going to stay out of this and he doesn't want anything to do with the best friends anymore. He's leaving the best friends because he doesn't want to be a part of the drama. And then, like, the next week, he's like, hey, you want to be my partner? It seems odd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the point of him separating himself from them the week before? Odd.
Well, you figure if he's going to have a partner, Rocky Romero, it would stand to reason that maybe he's going to kind of manipulate this teammate and make him turn on what's left of the best friends, which is really just like Statlander and Romero and Orange Cassidy.
Wait, but one of those people is the person you just were talking about, though. So that only leaves Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, who's out forever, and Statlander, who's a woman. So you think
any of them could turn?
Turn what? On Trent? He's already fighting with Trent.
You're not listening. Turn on the faces that are there. Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Chris Statlander.
So you think he's trying to get Cassidy to be in a team with him so that he can get Cassidy to turn on Cassidy?
No. Obviously, he can't turn on himself.
I know. What are you talking about?
You're just being difficult on purpose.
I just don't understand what you mean.
We're going to move on. Okay. We're going to move on. So Mariah May and Harley Cameron had a match. Mariah May pinned Cameron after Mayday, and this was not as bad as I expected. Harley Cameron was okay in the ring. I gave this one 3.5 bones out of 5. Afterwards, Saraya attacks May, and then Mina Shirakawa comes in to save her, and Shirakawa and Mariah May both drink champagne and dance around. Next, the interviewer, whose name I'm not sure of, she is with Pac. And Bullet Club Gold, the trios champs, they walk by and say, Death Triangle is dead. And Jay White says to watch him and learn about winning. I believe Jay White has a match later. We then get a Malachi Black promo on Adam Copeland. And he says he must kill the facade of Adam Copeland to bring back the real, violent Copeland. And we then get a Young Bucks propaganda video, which is pretty good. It's all about how great they were and how great they are, and things like that. Pretty funny. After that, the Young Bucks are backstage, and they wish Swerve good luck on his match tonight. So, world champion Swerve Strickland comes out, and then the Patriarchy come out, and then we have the Mogul Embassy come out. Swerve said that he was going to meet with the Patriarchy with a posse kind of this week. And we think it's going to be the Mogul Embassy, and then all of a sudden, Christian Cage smiles, and we were left to wonder why for about a second, and then Brian Cage attacks Swerve Strickland, and then the Gates of Agony attack him, and the Mogul Embassy is no more. So that's sad, but I saw it coming. Swerve already felt kind of separate from them at this point,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Gates of Agony threw Swerve through the announcer's table. A pretty brutal attack, and and they're done. They're done with Swerve.
I'm glad Prince Nana wasn't there to witness it.
Yeah.
He would have been distraught.
It's interesting. Why wasn't Prince Nana there?
He hasn't been there the last 2 weeks. Wait, you don't know? No. You don't think he's part of that? No.
Oh, that's what I would do.
No, people love him. They would hate him if he turned on Swerve.
I know. That's what I would do.
No, he's like one of the best parts of AEW. You can't ruin him.
Wouldn't ruin him. He could have a good heel. I mean, he's been a heel most of his career.
But he can't do that super awesome dance and be like a super heel.
He'd have to cut out the dance, yeah.
Yeah. No, he's got too much joy in his heart.
Oh. So next, the Young Bucks praise the Patriarchy for what just occurred. Christian Cage said, "Great idea," to the Young Bucks. So it turns out it was the Young Bucks doing. And the Young Bucks they're using the power just to order people around, order beatings, things like that. And this is what we were saying a couple weeks back. This is what we were saying we wanted to see from this angle. Let them really use their power and really be little assholes with it, and see where we get. And I think it's going very well. Next, TBS champion Willow Nightingale is with Arkany, I think is the interviewer's name. I don't know. And Willow Nightingale just talks about Mercedes Moné and she's going to beat her at Double or Nothing and all that sort of thing. And then next we have 1/3 of the World Trios champions, Jay White, pardon me, accompanied by the Guns. And White is taking on Rocky Romero. White hit the Blade Runner and pinned Romero and got the win. And this was a squash match. I don't rate squash matches. But yeah, I was surprised that it was a squash match. They didn't let Rocky Romero get anything in, did they?
No.
Which is, as I said, surprising. So the Bullet Club Gold attack Romero after the match, as is their nature. And then Pac coming out to save him. Had to. I was challenged by my writing again. But yeah, so Pac comes out to save him. So that's good. We get a Samoa Joe promo video after that, which I'm still intrigued to see how AEW is going to use him post world title.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's injured, but we haven't seen it. We've seen him in one match post title.
Like a squash match, wasn't it? Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see what they use him in, because he could do so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame for him to not be getting used,
Yeah.
So I don't know. They need to get back on that, because people like Samoa Joe. He's good in the ring. He's good on the mic. He's the whole package. You can do anything. Pardon me. I'm sorry. You can do anything with him.
Well, I know you can, but I'm saying after he just lost the world title, you personally, what would you choose to do with him as like the next path for his character to go down? Like, would you put him in like a Jericho, like apprentice?
No. But
I mean, like where he takes on an apprentice, not where he's an apprentice to Jericho.
So kind of a little.
Yeah.
So Joe is old, and he's been trained in this style and that style and the other. But obviously, God, excuse me. Obviously, it wasn't enough to beat Swerve Strickland. So Joe would find some new style that he hasn't been trained in yet, and then embark on the path of getting trained in that, or two styles of fighting, perhaps. But that's my point. Just try to make himself a more complete fighter, because I guess he must be if he's going to get the belt back from Strickland. And so we get to see, that side of Joe, a devout side of him, where he could almost be a face, where you're respecting what he's doing, but then he comes back from doing all that and he's still a heel. He's still an asshole. That's what I would do. Let's see, where are we? All right, next we have FTW champion Chris Jericho and his sapling at Big Bill. They take on Mo Jabari and Harlan Abbott. Big Bill does all the wrestling, and he tags in Jericho, who hits the Judas Effect elbow and gets the pin and the win. So Jericho and Big Bill, their first match as a tag team, are victorious. And this was a squash match, so no rating for that. Tony Schiavone comes out and announces that Hook returns next week on Dynamite. So meaning tonight on Dynamite, we will see Hook's return. Up next is the main event for Dynamite, the AEW TNT title no disqualification match. Copeland versus Brody King. And this was a good fight, good match. Copeland won eventually after spearing King off the apron through a table. Then spearing Brody King in the ring again and getting the pin. So it was a hard-fought win, but a win nonetheless. Adam Copeland keeps the TNT title. Good match. 4 bones out of 5. Probably call that one the match of the night for Dynamite, I think. Yeah.
That'd be my pick, yeah.
Yeah, match of the night for Dynamite last week. So after the match, Brody King attacks Copeland, but down comes Kyle O'Reilly to protect him. So after that, we get Mercedes Moné promo about how much she loves AEW and if she'll be as good as she was when she returns. And basically she says, what the fuck do you think? Yeah. So anxious to see how she looks in the ring, definitely. I want to see how this match goes with Willow Nightingale. Looking forward to that one. And I've heard, a lot of people saying that they think it should be the main event on the show. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. I mean, it's kind of odd to have your mid-card women's belt main event your pay-per-view, especially when there's an AEW heavyweight championship match on that same show. But if they're trying to really sell their women's division, has a women's match main evented in AEW pay-per-view? I know it has for Ring of Honor once, but I don't think
pay-per-view. I don't think so.
But
I don't think so. Not for AEW.
I mean, this is like the most story they've had for a women's match, like long-term story, since it was like ready-made, you know. So I don't see why not, especially if they're trying to make Mercedes Moné feel like they put a priority on women's wrestling. I feel like that's a good way to sell that message to her. What do you think?
Well, and, you know, they want to present Moné like a star, which she is.
Yeah.
But they want to present her as a huge star. So that's the question, you know, can Swerve, who's, you know, trying to gain traction as a new world champion, can his spot, can it stand the hit of not being the main event so that Mercedes Moné can be the main event?
I think if they go on first, do the world title match first. I feel like that first spot is like almost as prominent as the main event spot now, you know, because it's so often used as that we know this is going to be the better match, but this other one has to be the main event because it's a world title match or whatever. Like that, That's so often used as like, we're going to put the best match of the night here to make for this like main event that isn't going to maybe not quite as deliver on the same level. But I feel like being in the first match now is not seen as like, oh, well, you don't get to main event, you have to go first. You know, like I feel like that's like an honor almost now. So yeah, I think it'll be fine.
And that's been traditionally an honor as well to start the show. I mean, that's a lot of trust. Not so much the being the main event guys. That's been a more recent last several decades kind of thing. But it's always been an honor to start the show. I mean, that's the promoter, the booker, putting a lot of faith in you. I mean, you're setting the tone for the whole night. If the first match sucks, that drags down the card immensely. So yeah, you got to go out there and deliver. You know, that's why WCW back in the day, one of my favorite companies, they commonly used to open their shows with cruiserweight matches, and they were phenomenal. And they would regularly do it, and it to set the tone for the show, and it worked. You know, you already got a great match under your belt, and then you can go into your angles or your mid-card matches or whatever that might not be as hot as that first match. But the fans at least know that the show can be as good as that, and that it might get that good again. So they stay interested in everything that's happening.
Does WWE not do that? I never noticed that with them, that they intentionally put good matches on first. Like, the only one that's immediately coming to mind is the Austin Theory John Cena match that opened, like, I think night 2 of WrestleMania last year or the year before. And that was terrible. Like, and so that's the only one that I like really remember. Like, wow, that really set a terrible tone for the rest of the night.
Speaking of Cena, real quick, I gotta tell you, on Amazon Prime, we saw this movie called Ricky Stenicki, which it's an Amazon original movie.
Starring John Cena.
Starring John Cena. Yeah, that's where I'm getting. Starring John Cena. And it was very funny. It was very crude. If you have children in the room, it is not for children. Definitely not. It's very crude, adult humor. It's very funny.
It's very funny.
John Cena is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ricky Stenicki. Yeah. Good one. Good one. So check that out. Where were we, though?
We're talking about the order for the pay-per-view. Mercedes Moné should main event.
So what do you think?
Yeah, I said go for it.
Answer?
Yeah, no, I said go for it.
Put the women last?
Put the women last, yeah. Make AEW history, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Up next, Lexi is with Adam Copeland and Kyle O'Reilly. And Kyle O'Reilly challenges Copeland to a TNT title match on Collision. It basically says you're welcome for be saving your ass. Give me a title shot. And then next, our main event is a segment. They've been doing that lately here at AEW. I'm not a big fan of that, but whatever. They've been good at least. Segments have been good. So the Elite come out and they talk trash about Kenny Omega and FTR. FTR reveal Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson as the other members of Team AEW at Anarchy in the Arena. A brawl ensues, a Donnybrook, if you will. Other wrestlers come down to separate the sides of Team Elite versus Team AEW. It's a mess. Everyone's getting punched and kicked and all sorts of things, and the show ends. So, good end to the show, definitely. Very exciting. And a good episode, except for these squash matches. Were there like 3 squash matches?
Yeah.
No, not good.
Yeah.
Weren't there?
Well, if you count the Mariah May one as a squash match.
No. Jay White beat Rocky Romero.
And then Jericho and Bill versus Jobbers.
Jericho and Bill won in squash.
That was it.
Oh, you're correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But it was a good show. Good show. Moved some things forward. And the wrestling that was not Jobbers was pretty darn good, I thought.
Can I tell you when my heart broke just a little bit?
What? When?
So I love Bryan Danielson. This is nothing against him. But when Eddie Kingston came out as like, he's going to help FTR, and his music hit or whatever, I immediately assumed that the second person that was about to come out was going to be Mark Briscoe. And I was like jumping up and down, like, yeah, Mark Briscoe. And then it wasn't Mark Briscoe. And just my heart broke a little bit.
Sorry.
Yeah. I would have loved to see him in an Anarchy in the Arena event.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah.
Plus, he's friends with FTR, friends with Eddie. He could even have taken Eddie's place. Get Mark Briscoe and Bryan Danielson and FTR, Could have been down with that.
So we go to AEW Collision, May 11th in Vancouver, British Columbia. And it opens with a good tag team match. Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson of the BCC take on Top Flight, who have been really hot lately. Mm-hmm. They're accompanied by Action Andretti. Good back and forth match. A lot of spots. Nothing missed, really. Nothing I could tell. Mm-hmm. And that's a sign of a pro. They probably missed 5 spots, and you never know, But yeah, very good match between these two teams. Castagnoli and Danielson gave them a lot of offense. They gave them more offense than maybe they should have. But they made Top Flight look good, that's for sure. Eventually, Castagnoli pinned Darius after a running clothesline. As I said, very good match. 4.5 bones out of 5. Afterwards, Danielson says to give Top Flight a hand. Danielson then goes on a rant against the Young Bucks and says he'll do anything to protect AEW. He was very emphatic with the anything, as though he already knew what the thing was going to be. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think he's talking about?
I don't know. This whole thing was like a little awkward, and it just kind of like made my brain break momentarily. Like, it seemed an odd time to have a promo where like, yeah, give it up for Top Flight. They're awesome. Now let's talk about those dumb shits, the Young Bucks.
Yeah,
like it was a weird transition. And then he started an AEW chant, but it wasn't an AEW chant. It was an AEW.
AEW.
So awkward. Like, has he not heard them chant before? It was like, it was very strange. It was like, it's like Nixon calling the EPA EPA. Are you not aware of what's happening around you? So I actually had not even considered what he said during this promo at all, because I was just so thrown off by everything happening. But I would assume he's got some sort of evil plan for Anarchy in the Arena. I mean, what else could it be, you know?
Who has an evil plan?
Danielson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he's being a face here.
Yeah, but he's saying that he would do anything to protect AEW, emphasizing the anything. So I think he's going to do something crazy at Anarchy in the Arena to help protect AEW from the evil elite.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Weird calling a face evil, though.
Well, he's a face-ish. He walks the line.
He is in this case now. He's been booked as a case. He's been booked as a face lately.
Yeah. No, I know he has. But, I mean, I feel like in AEW, a lot of faces can do some messed up crap and still be faces.
Yeah. They get a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
Afterwards, Danielson says, I've said that already. After that, Swerve and the Mogul Embassy, the turn recapped. And then we get Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty versus Will Ospreay, probably the best wrestler in the world, for my money anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Moriarty accompanied by Shane Taylor. Good match. Just, interesting seeing the Styles mesh. You really got to see what Lee Moriarty can do. And it was good. He was very good, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Best match I've seen him put on, Moriarty.
It had more of a flow than his matches normally do.
Right.
Like his are typically very like stilted, you know, like very like broken up into I'm doing this move. Now I am moving into doing this move without like any kind of flow. And so I feel like Will Ospreay helped him with that a lot.
Yeah. Ospreay pinned Moriarty after the Stormbreaker. Shane Taylor Promotions beat up Ospreay afterwards. And then the Undisputed Kingdom come out and they stand over Ospreay's body. Of course, Ospreay has the international title match with Roderick Strong at the pay-per-view coming up.
They were already out. They were on commentary.
Oh, right. Thank you.
Yeah.
They were already there. Thank you.
Yeah, Roderick Strong was on commentary, and the Kingdom were just like standing behind them.
So if I didn't say, very good match. 4.5 bones out of 5, which I don't give those out a lot. So it's pretty good for Collision to start out with 2 4.5 bone matches. I mean, it's wild, great wrestling. But that's what happens when you got Will Ospreay, Top Flight, Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli. I mean, the names when you go through an AEW card, not to be too, fawning, but I mean, it's like a wrestling all-star team. It's something else.
Well, just you wait till you get to the next 3 matches, because I don't know if you'll feel that way anymore.
Oh, true.
You're about to see a shit show.
So yeah, Collision did go downhill a little. We get shown some stuff Mercedes Moné has been doing. She threw out the first pitch at a Red Sox game. Hooray.
She made it to the plate. It made it to the plate. It was very impressive, I thought.
But she didn't throw it like a baseball, though.
She threw it like a ball. She didn't throw it like a pitcher.
She threw it like a ball, right.
Yeah, it's a ball. That's fine. No one was batting. She can throw it how she wants. Think of all the people we've seen, like celebrities we've seen that throw the ball and it like makes it halfway and then just like slowly rolls partially the rest of the way and then stops, That would be like I would be terrified to do that. Like, I'm like, please God, just let it make it to the catcher's mitts. Like, oh, I could never. I wouldn't even attempt that. I would be so worried that the ball wasn't going to make it there. I used to play baseball. It did not go well.
I used to play baseball, and I was okay.
I was not the worst person on the team.
Yeah. Which
made me feel so bad for that kid because, like, he was worse than the girl. Because, like, there were, like, 3 girls in the whole league. Yeah, I was not good.
Up next, Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. They take on Evan Rivers and the Voros twins. Never heard of any of them. It's a squash match. Cage and the Gates of Agony won when the Gates of Agony threw Rivers into a sit-out powerbomb by Brian Cage. They just smashed these guys. That's what they should be doing as a trios team, just smashing through people.
This was probably the fastest squash match I've ever seen.
Really?
It was fast.
Yeah.
Like, that finishing move was like one of maybe 3 moves in the match. And I feel like I'm being generous with that number.
It's true. You're right. So Shivani then interviews Brian Cage. Swerve shows up and takes out all 3, Cage and the Gates of Agony. And then Swerve smashed Toa Leona's head with a steel chair while his head was on the steel steps. This it didn't look good. He totally missed. Obviously, he's not really going to hit his head, but the illusion wasn't there. Swerve missed him by a mile, and it just he hit the stairs. He didn't hit his head very obviously.
I feel like that was a camera angle issue.
It definitely was. They picked the wrong angle to show it from. Yeah.
And just in case you didn't see the segment, so you're not thinking like how ridiculous the idea of Swerve being able to take out these 3 guys is. He did it with weaponry. He had a chain, he had a cinder block, he had a chair. It wasn't just him taking down these 3 monsters of men.
And so then we get a Swerve Strickland promo. And after everything that's gone down between he and the Gates of Agony lately, Swerve challenges Brian Cage to a match on Dynamite. So that's tonight. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a world title eliminator match tonight on Dynamite. Next, Daniel Garcia versus KM. Bunch of jobbers out tonight. Garcia won via submission to the Dragon Sleeper. This was a strange match. Remember it? Several different holds. Very slow pace by Garcia. It wasn't very interesting at all. Mm-hmm. And this KM person didn't show me anything. It was a squash match. Daniel Garcia won.
It seemed like that KM person was someone that Vancouver knew, though. Like, they seemed like a local talent that was actual local talent that the local people recognized. Because, like, he got cheers and stuff periodically, which jobbers normally don't get when they're just, like, total randos,
Yeah. Next, we saw the Anarchy in the Arena team making from Dynamite. And then we get a cool matchup. Dax Harwood taking on the Dynamite Kid, the new Dynamite Kid. That's not what he's called, but he is the new one. But it's the Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington, who is the nephew of the original Dynamite Kid, who, if you don't know, had a very, very hard-hitting wrestling style. He really wanted everything to look real. He prided himself on doing that. And, like the good ones do, he prided himself on making it look real without hurting anyone, as well. But he got addicted to drugs and things like that. I believe he was in a car wreck, and ended up in a wheelchair. So he was one of the kind of the one of the cases of most deserving person to never win a world title, and he never got to that level. And Vince McMahon wouldn't have given him one in the WWF. He was too short. But if he'd gone to WCW, he probably could have been a world champion. But I digress. Yeah, if you are not familiar with the Dynamite Kid, please go and look him up, because you'll see he did in the 80s. he was, in part, he was wrestling the style that the wrestlers in AEW and like the international scene do today, like the Japanese scene, I mean, specifically. And like I said, just so hard hitting and very unique talent. Can't take your eyes off him when he's in the ring. So go look him up, Dynamite Kid. If you don't know him, look him up. You'll be impressed. I promise you. So this one, Dax Harwood, accompanied by Cash Wheeler, of course, his FTR teammate. Match ends when Dax powerbombs Billington and gets the pin. And this was a good television debut for Tommy Billington. 4 bones out of 5. Good match. Solid match. Let's see. After Dynamite camera moment, the Elite were in the back. And then Okada gets himself fired up and he challenges Dax Harwood. And that's for Dynamite tonight. So tonight, Wednesday the 15th. And we'll go over the card in a little bit here. Next, Matthew Jackson, one half of the World Tag Champs. He dissed Christopher Daniels, who turned it back on Matthew.
He was mad that Daniels came out on Dynamite to help separate FTR, the Elites, Danielson, and Kingston. That was the Young Bucks' complaint about Daniels, rather.
Being too helpful.
Like not letting them get at it, you know?
So Christopher Daniels challenged the Young Bucks to a tag team match with Matt Sydal as his partner. And I believe that is tonight, yes? On Dynamite?
I think so, but I don't know for sure.
I think it is. It's a stacked card for Dynamite tonight. Very good show, it looks like.
What's next? Okay, you're just thinking about Dynamite?
Yeah, I was. I'm sorry. I was zoning out, thinking about how good of a show it's going to be tonight. So FTR, they're in the back. Dax Harwood cuts a promo on Okada, which that's another match we're going to see on Dynamite. Just a stacked show, like I said. I mean, it could, like pay-per-view quality lineup, I think. Except the fact that the Swerve match is an eliminator match, not a title match. But nonetheless, just talking, if you look at the matchups, who's fighting one another, a pay-per-view quality show, on cable TV tonight, we're going to get. Up next, Thunder Rosa took on a Robin Renegade on Collision. And Robin Renegade is usually pretty okay. She's usually, good hand in the ring, as they say. Here she was not. She was awkward and clunky and getting in her own way and getting in Thunder Rosa's way and just not particularly good in the ring. The match ended when Rosa won via submission to the Cobra Clutch. I love seeing her use that move. That, of course, was Sergeant Slaughter's finisher for many years. It was a decent match. It wasn't terrible, but as I said, Robin Renegade kind of dragged it down. So 3 bones out of 5 for that one. Up next, Johnny TV and Taya are with Lexi. Johnny TV challenges Peck and then kisses his wife in a severe manner.
His own wife, not Pack's wife.
Right, kisses his own wife, yes.
In a severe manner.
Next, Hook cuts a promo on a concrete bench in Brooklyn. He said he's coming for Chris Jericho and returns on Dynamite this coming week, meaning tonight.
This promo sucked.
Yeah, it was not good.
Oh, it was not good.
Not good.
Like the camera, if the camera was here, like I'm looking at you talking to the camera, he was talking like this for like 75% of the segments. And it wasn't an interview, so he wasn't talking to a person. He was just talking to no one off to the side. It was not good. It was not good.
Mm-hmm. All right, and the end of Collision, the main event, the AEW TNT title match. Adam Copeland defending against Kyle O'Reilly, and another very good match. This Collision had 3 very good matches on it. Kyle O'Reilly has really been impressive since he returned, mm-hmm. and Adam Copeland continues to be on maybe the best run of his life, maybe the best he's looked since fighting in all those ladder matches 24 years ago.
It's the best I've seen him look since I've been watching wrestling.
Yeah, he's doing great. Mm-hmm. Doing great. This is a good match. Eventually, though, Copeland hit a spear and got the pin and the win. And I forget if I said I gave this one 4.5 bones as well.
So what's your match of the night? You got 3 4.5 bone matches, and then 3 duds.
Yeah. So on Collision, match of the night. I gotta go with Castagnoli and Danielson versus Top Flight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that your match of the week then also?
I believe that is the AEW match of the week. Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson beating Top Flight on Collision.
Oh, wait. Is Rampage considered for match of the week? Because I guess I should have waited for you to get to those. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
I forgot that we don't normally, we used to not do Rampage. And so
really quickly, Rampage, here's what happened. Let me see how much time we got. Okay, we're okay. Because if you haven't heard, we are doing a watch-along after the show tonight. So you just stick around. We'll start the watch-along around 7:55. Of course, the show starts at 8, and we have some guests. We have Wolf, if you know him. He was on a lot of the Last Week in Wrestling podcasts. And same can be said for Willie from Willie Does Wrestling. He's going to be joining us, so it'll be nice to see those 2 guys. It'll be a fun time. And like I said, that starts at 8 right here. Just don't go anywhere, and you'll be fine. So on Rampage, Adam Copeland, this is after their match. Immediately, Rampage starts immediately after Collision. So Copeland picks up Kyle O'Reilly and hugs him. There's blood on. This is a weird moment. There's blood on Adam Copeland's lip, and we saw a point where he was like posing with Kyle O'Reilly, and we saw the point where he bites the blood capsule,
because he chews it like an old man trying to chew like caramel, like
right. It was
like chomping. It was so weird, and then it started to come out, but it like just came out a little bit. Like it would be like if a little kid drew a tongue sticking out of someone's face, like a puppy dog, like it was just very small. It was like to go through the trouble of biting a blood capsule and bringing the blood capsule with you for this moment, to have just like a thumb-sized dot of blood on your lip. It was a really weird moment. Don't you think? I mean,
yes.
Like if you're gonna go through all that trouble, like drool the blood or something.
Yes, it was very strange, out of nowhere. Yeah. But all it can be leading to, the only fucking thing it can be leading to, I mean, admit it, it's him becoming a vampire again. If you don't know, when Adam Copeland broke into WWE, WWF back then, his first gimmick was like cool solo guy. He walked through the crowd and nobody knew from where he was going to come in the arena, and he just walked cool and never said anything. He just came in the ring and did his business, and so that was his gimmick: cool guy with sunglasses. and no shirt. So that's a weird gimmick. But after that, he fell in with a group called the Brood in WWF, led by Gangrel, Ludwig Sean's real-life husband. And he became a vampire. He became a minion for Gangrel, and they had sacrifices, and they had ceremonies, and he drank blood and all that sort of thing. And Gangrel would bring out a chalice with him and take a sip from it, or take a big sip from it, and then always stand at the turnbuckle corner, and just spit it out, spew it out into the fans a little bit. Very great entrance. And from what I've heard, when he was in WWE recently, Copeland wanted them to bring back Gangrel, so he could have one more angle with him. And WWE wasn't too big on that. So maybe we're going to see Tony Khan give Adam Copeland his wish, because I swear that look that he was giving when confronted by his own blood, yeah, I don't know what a conclusion you can draw from all this.
Well, WWE did let him bring back Brood Edge for Mania, for his match against Finn Balor. He came out to his Brood Edge music, and he was dressed as Brood Edge. So do you think AEW would do that so close to him having done it in WWE?
Well, he didn't do it in WWE.
I mean, Gangrel didn't come out with him, but he came out as Brood Edge at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that was like a year ago or two.
Yeah, I think they still would. If Adam Copeland wants to do it, I think they would, yeah.
Really true, yeah.
And that would be cool. I would love to see Gangrel. Very talented, very underrated wrestler, Gangrel.
Really creepy looking.
Yes, he is. He's a scary guy. But he's a nice guy, it seems like.
Looks like a vampire. All right, what's next?
Claudio Castagnoli is with Lexi. He tells her he may not have anything to do with Anarchy in the Arena. And I'm trying to remember why.
Who, Claudio?
Claudio. Why did he say he wasn't going to have anything to do with it?
I think he thought it was beneath him, was kind of how it came across. Like, yeah, I mean, that's how I took it. I can't remember exactly what he said, but that was my overall impression. It was like, if you want to lower yourself to getting in the ring and messing with these power-hungry guys, that's fine. I'm going to be in real wrestling matches over here, is how I took it.
You don't think it was just scared of getting injured?
Maybe, but I mean, that dude's had like, I don't know, 10 of his teeth knocked out. I don't think he's that scared of injury.
That's crazy. That's so insane to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't see it back when Claudio Castagnoli, back when he was in WWE, he jumped and he hit the post that holds the turnbuckle and the top of the post, and smashes his face on it. It lands teeth first. It knocks all these teeth out right here. And so he goes through the rest of the match, but it's like just his bottom teeth.
And like a lot of blood.
A lot of blood just profusely pouring from his mouth. He can't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. They should have stopped the match. Definitely.
Yeah.
But it's WWE. They don't stop shit for shit.
Yeah. So that's why he wears a mouth guard now.
Yeah. Smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was gory. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. If he doesn't do it, they could just have Okada do it.
Do what?
Oh no, I'm sorry, not Okada. Shibata, I meant.
They don't need him.
What do you mean they don't need him?
They already have 4 people for Anarchy in the Arena.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Never mind. All right, next up, Trent Beretta versus Dalton Castle.
Before he goes on, it was wonderful to see Dalton Castle on AEW television again.
Was.
He has been sorely missed.
Yeah. Fantastic. Great wrestler.
Made my night.
Great wrestler, great personality. One of the best ring entrances of all time. Funny in the ring. He's very vocal, and you can hear what he says to his opponents. Just, he's great.
And he's a good wrestler.
Yeah. I think that's the first thing I said.
I'm just emphasizing that because when you see gimmick wrestlers, you get lost in their gimmick a lot of times and you don't focus on their wrestling, but he's a very good wrestler.
So it was a fun match. Dalton Castle got some of his stuff in. If you haven't seen his entrance, he comes out with the boys. He has these, half-naked men. It's very homoerotic. And they build like a human staircase for him to walk into the ring. And they eat imaginary chicken feed out of his hand. And all sorts of things. So that's what Dalton Castle is about. Eventually, Beretta beat Castle by knockout when a submission hold knocked him out. So I'm not sure what hold it was, but he knocked him out. And Beretta continues on his winning ways. The only person he's lost to lately has been Orange Cassidy. And like I said, this was a solid match. 4 bones out of 5.
He lost to Chuck Taylor.
Chuck Taylor won the parking lot match?
Yeah, and then in anger, he threw that wrench at him. And
well, damn. I take it back.
Yeah.
I take it back.
I think, didn't he? I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I don't know. My memory's been terrible lately, so I don't know.
I think he did. If he didn't, feel free to tell us in the chat, because both of us are old and our memories are bad.
Yeah.
Plus, if it happens on Rampage, I'm usually really tired already. Which
True.
is partially why I don't know for sure what Claudio said during that segment.
True. Deonna Purrazzo, she has a promo on Thunder Rosa and Lady Frost. They're going after both of them, trying to move her way back up in the rankings. Next, we have a Roosh hype video where he pretty much just tells us in Spanish that he doesn't take a lot of shit and he'll beat you up and he'll, if you mess with the bull, you get the horns, as he says it. It's pretty fun spot. Let Roosh show his personality some. And that's just what AEW needs to do more of, to connect these characters with the audience. Because I feel like a lot of times the AEW guys are so plain and so set on winning matches and things like that, that the personality does get lost in the shuffle and doesn't translate as well as it could. So that's something on which they need to work, I believe. And it seems like they are, so that's good. Up next, we had Brian Keith taking on J.D. Drake of the Workhorsemen. And Keith hit Diamond Dust for the pin and the win. Which, if you don't know what that is, it's you stand on the middle rope, I think. Middle or top rope. I think it's the middle rope. You stand on the middle rope with your opponent's head in like the headlock position, and then you flip over and turn it into a stunner. You bring their jaw down on your shoulder blade, on your shoulder. So you turn a flip into a stunner. That's Diamond Dust. It's a move that's popularized in Japan. Very cool move.
I like the name.
Yeah, it's fun to say too. So yeah, Brian Keith got the win. This was a squash match, so I'm not going to rate it. there were some awkward spots in it too. These two did not mesh at all. It was a waste of time, quite honestly. Except Brian Keith looked pretty good. Other than that, it was a waste of time.
And I like when he spins his poncho as part of his entrance before he throws it out. That's always exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him. I like the bounty hunter gimmick.
Yeah. No, I like him.
I love a good occupational gimmick, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think the Butcher needs to come out with, like, a bloody apron.
Adam Copeland is behind a barbed wire fence. And Copeland challenges Malachi Black to a barbed wire steel cage match at Double or Nothing.
Yeah!
That sounds fucking awesome to me.
I can't wait.
Sounds awesome. Next, we get Deonna Purrazzo versus Lady Frost. Lady Frost does her usual stuff where she does these gymnastics and acrobatics, which may be popular in the gymnastics world. But when she uses these gymnastics moves to set up a wrestling move, it does not work for her. It's not smooth.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks wrong when she does things.
Well, it brings all action to a screeching halt so she can do something awkward that does not fit the flow of the match.
Yeah.
She needs to work with Jack Cartwheel, because that man can incorporate some gymnastics into wrestling and make it look like it's meant to be there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm a fan of Jack Cartwheel. I was just thinking of him earlier today for some reason.
It's because I mentioned him earlier today.
Oh, that may be why.
He had some matches against A.R. Fox.
Yeah.
That I was talking about earlier, yeah.
So eventually, Purrazzo wins the match after a running shoulder in the gut, while Frost was in a tree of woe in the corner. And that is tree of woe. If you don't know, that's when you have your feet and they're both trapped in the lines of the ropes of the top turnbuckle, and you're prone and upside down. That's a tree of woe. That's what that's called.
What's the difference between a running shoulder and a spear?
Well, a running shoulder, you give more like that. You give more the shoulder forward. A spear, you're really kind of planting your shoulder in the middle of their gut. So it's pretty much where the shoulder is aiming.
So like one's more like a football move, like where you're like what people do in basketball when they're trying to like get space that they're not allowed to do. And then the other one's more like a tackling from around the waist. Is that right? Like one's a takedown move, the other one's like a I'm gonna hit you move.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay. I never thought about it before.
So yeah, Purrazzo got the win. After the match, Thunder Rosa chased Deonna Purrazzo. We get a new acclaimed music video, which was pretty cool. That's out of the blue.
Very random, but fun.
And then we get a Scorpio Sky video. He's back, and he's a lame face.
Oh my god. It was the faciest promo ever. Like, just like nauseous faciness.
Yeah, not good.
Hey guys, we're going to be great together. I can't wait to show you what I can do. Just like painful.
Yeah, it was bad. But he's a good wrestler. It'll be, and he's been improving too. I feel like
he's such a good heel. Why would you take that away from him and make him like leave it to Beaver level cheesiness?
He was a good heel. That team with he and Christopher Daniels.
I was thinking when he was with Ethan Page.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do with Scorpio Sky. He's been off TV for quite a bit now.
Well, he was injured, and then he came back, and then he got injured again, and was gone again. Like, he came back for like a week, I think.
All right. Next, we get Pac versus Johnny TV with Taya. Pac wins via submission to the Rings of Saturn. Good match between these two. You know, these two can flip and fly all over the fucking ring. They're both amazing at what they do in the ring. This was a fun one to see, and I wish it had 2 or 3 times the time that it was awarded, because it was very good. As I said, Pac won via submission. Gave it 4 bones out of 5.
So, what was your Rampage match of the night?
So my Rampage match of the night. I think it was that one.
That would be my pick.
I think, yeah, the Pac over Johnny TV. Yeah, this was the Rampage match of the night, definitely. After that, Bullet Club Gold are on the big screen, and they threaten Pac, and they tell him to go after Bullet Club. What? They tell him not to go after Bullet Club Gold members again. And that is how the show ends, pretty much. So, pretty interesting shows this week, I thought. I like having Rampage after Dynamite or Collision.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they're actually using Rampage like a real show, and incorporating some of the larger angles in it, and having some of the, the more talented wrestlers on it as well. So it's nice that it's not like the C show anymore. It's kind of moved up to a B show.
It's like the B plus show.
Yeah. So,
or B minus show. All right, so what's up next?
All right, so next, real quick, I'm going to run down Dynamite tonight, which, again, looks like a pack card. We've got Continental Champion Okada of the Elite defending his belt against Dax Harwood of FTR. TBS Champion Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné signed their contract for Double or Nothing. World Champion Swerve Strickland takes on Brian Cage in a world title eliminator match. The Young Bucks take on Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal in an eliminator match. And I'm expecting both of those matches to be good, but especially that one with the Bucks versus Daniels and Sydal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hook returns. All right. Also, Moxley and Danielson of the BCC taking on Ring of Honor World Television Champion Cobb Fletcher and Jeff Cobb. This is just a powerhouse. That will probably be the match of the night for my money. I bet you.
We can't have Powerhouse Hobbs, so we're getting Powerhouse Cobb.
I guess so. Adam Copeland calls out Malachi Black for Double or Nothing. I don't think Malachi has accepted his challenge yet, correct?
No.
He's not officially accepted it. Face to face, international champion Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay. Of course, they have a match for the title coming up at Double or Nothing. And in a non-title match, Women's World Champion Toni Storm takes on Harley Cameron. So pretty big show, it sounds like to me. I mean,
Yeah.
Lots of stuff happening. Lots of stuff going on.
My big question going into this episode of Dynamite, will Mercedes Moné have some sort of fancy bejeweled pen with which she signs the contract? She's very big into bejeweling things.
I'm going to say yes.
Like, even her eyelids get, like, gems on them. So, I better see a really cool looking pen. It better be fancy. All right, what's up next?
So those are the TV recaps. And a little of our opinions sprinkled in. You know, we usually do a segment called "Where's This Going?" So we kind of incorporated that into the TV recap this week. Like I said, we have time for a couple for a new segment actually at the end. Coming up right now though is Kay Fabulous and her wrestling fashion do's and don'ts.
Okay.
Do.
If you are trying to make it clear that the best friends are dead, do cover your old faction's shirt with black gaffer's tape so all it now says is best and shows a picture of your face, like Trent Beretta.
Don't.
If you are trying to come across as a dominant professor, don't dress like a figure skater like Serena Deeb.
Do.
If you are going to be in a bloodbath, do wear white to highlight all that gory red as Adam Copeland did on Dynamite.
Don't.
If you are an EVP, don't come out wearing a suit that looks like it was made out of your grandma's couch like Nicholas Jackson.
Do.
If you are the head of the Mogul Embassy with no more embassy, do wear a fur-lined hoodie worthy of Jon Snow like Swerve Strickland.
Don't.
If your brother shows up in your grandma's couch, don't add to the ugly confusion by dressing like Two-Face, like Matthew Jackson.
Do.
If you are from the graveyards of Tijuana, do come out in a glorious floral crown, topped with un grande sol as Thunder Rosa did on Collision.
Do.
If you are, and I quote, about as flamboyant as you can get, do dress like a peacock wearing a Batman outfit on his way to a roller disco, like Dalton Castle did on Rampage. And that is this week's fashion do's and don'ts.
Thank you, Kay. Valuable as always to know what to wear in and around the squared circle. And now it is time for another beloved institution on the show. And that is the top 5. The AEW Top 5 Rankings. It's a proprietary formula that we created. We will never give it up. It's super duper secret. More secret even than the 11 herbs and spices of the Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe. We don't even have it in the vault. We just have it right up here to bring you the most accurate rankings that you can possibly get. So, Kay, where should we start?
I'm just trying to think of what those 11 herbs and spices might be right now. Let's start with women.
Women, okay. Number 5, back on the rankings, Deonna Purrazzo, after beating, who should be?
Lady Frost.
Yep.
No, wait. That was Thunder Rosa.
No, that's Thunder Rosa.
No, wait, it was Deonna Purrazzo. Yeah, Lady Frost.
She'd be Lady Frost?
Yeah, Lady
okay.
Frost, sorry.
Number 4, back on the rankings after, I think, a week off, Thunder Rosa. Number 3, up one spot from number 4 last week, is Mariah May, who continues to impress with the wrestling. And this week she beat
Harley Cameron.
And number 2, same spot as last week, the women's number 1 contender, Serena Deeb, the Professor. And number 1, Toni Storm, the AEW World Women's Champion. She has been number 1 for months now. So to run it down, that's number 1, Toni Storm. Number 2, Serena Deeb. Number 3, Mariah May. Number 4, Thunder Rosa. Number 5, Deonna Purrazzo.
Let's go to teams.
Teams. All right. Number 5, making their debut in the rankings, Chris Jericho and Big Bill, the Learning Tree team, whatever you want to call them.
The Learning Tree and a sapling.
Number 4, the Trios team of Bullet Club Gold. Number 3, Bullet Club Gold falling to number 4. They were number 1 last week. Number 3 this week, Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. As I told you earlier, they put on quite the clinic and are back in the rankings at number 3. Number 2, they were up 1 spot from last week. The Young Bucks, the AEW World Tag Team Champions. And number 1 for the teams, Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson of BCC. And they really, like I said, they had a great match against Top Flight, and that got them to the top over even the Young Bucks, who didn't have a match. So, if the champions don't have a match, they don't really get as highly rated,
Unless you're Toni Storm.
Right.
Or Swerve. It's really just the teams that applies to, I think.
All right, so men now.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, Orange Cassidy picked up a big win over his former friend, Trent Beretta. And I don't think that's the last that they're going to see of each other.
No, I don't think so either.
Number 4, back in the rankings after a week off, Will Ospreay, doing fantastic stuff. Number 3, same as last week, Adam Copeland, the AEW TNT champion. Number 2, same as last week, the number 1 contender to the world title, Christian Cage, the leader of the Patriarchy. And number 1, the AEW World Champion. He's been here for several weeks now, Swerve Strickland. So that's number 1, Swerve Strickland. Number 2, Christian Cage. Number 3, Adam Copeland. Number 4, Will Ospreay. Number 5, Orange Cassidy. And that is your AEW Top 5 rankings.
I feel like it's worth mentioning Christian Cage, not only the head of the Patriarchy, but also the number 1 contender for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So what's up next?
Up next is a new segment that Kay is going to do for us, I think, yes?
Which segment is it?
It is called Faces on the Milk Carton.
Yes. Would you like to explain the reference?
So what this is I'll explain the reference first. If you're young, you may not have any idea what I'm talking about when I say faces on the milk carton. So back in the 80s, yeah?
I'd say like 70s and 80s, yeah.
People got really crazy over the safety of their children. So certain people did.
People who cared about their kids.
It got crazy over it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so a lot of children, disappeared. They disappear all the time, and where the hell are they going? That's really weird, and I guess it's human trafficking, but that's another story. In the 80s, when kids would disappear, they would put a picture of their face, their date of birth, height, weight, all that sort of stuff. They put it on the milk carton. And they did it because, why? Everybody drinks milk. Yeah. So everybody in the U.S. will see it. Of course, that wouldn't work nowadays. You know, you have to put it on the almond milk carton and the soy milk carton, this milk, the goat milk carton, and all that.
Well, and cow's milk doesn't get sold in cartons really anymore.
Yeah.
It's mainly gallons and half gallons.
True.
The idea
was, so it was helpful in finding lost and abused, not just kids, but people, lost and abused people.
Yeah. It was primarily children.
Primarily children, yeah. But so that's the reference. So what do we mean by it in relation to AEW? We mean these are folks who are under contract to AEW, but you know, there's such a big roster. You can't use everybody on TV every week, as Tony Khan has found out. So these are the folks who, you know, it's kind of, where the fuck are they? Where have they been?
Yeah, there are people who have disappeared from AEW television seemingly without explanation. Yeah. And so not due to injury. Like, we're not putting injured people, at least not people who we know are out with injury on the missing list. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm. So
we might make this a semi-regular segment. So we're not going to talk about all of them today, because there's too many of them to talk about in one go. But we're going to just highlight 3 today. So the first one we're going to talk about is very nice and very evil, and that is Mr. Danhausen. So Danhausen was last seen in AEW on the 0 hour of World's End in December of 2023. While absent from AEW in 2024, he has appeared in GCW, which is Game Changer Wrestling, on their pay-per-views. So far, he has defeated Charles Mason. He's defeated Matt Cardona. He lost in a tag title match with Nick Gage against Violence is Forever, and lost in a tag match with Ram Chiaka. Sorry if I don't say all these names right. I am not as familiar with indie wrestlers as I am with AEW wrestlers. And that was in a match against Maki Ito and Nick Gage. Danhausen later took to social media to apologize to Maki Ito for cutting her with a pizza cutter during the match. It was a hardcore match. Saying, "Sorry for slicing your brain." He then went on to defeat Blake Christian for the GCW Championship, only to have the match restarted by temporary GM Matt Cardona, where he then lost the newly gained title back to Blake Christian. Danhausen officially held the title for 2 minutes and 28 seconds. He has also appeared in Create a Pro, tagging with CPA, where they defeated the Birds of the Sun. He has appeared in Defy, where he was defeated by Randy Myers in solo competition. Black Label Pro, where he was defeated by Jake Something. Inspire After Dark, where he defeated Dustin, how do you say that name again? N-G-U-E-N. Win, thank you.
Win.
In Absolute Intense Wrestling, where he lost along with Effie in a 3-way match against Magnum CK, who came out the victor. In Glory Pro Wrestling, Danhausen was defeated by their champ, Jake Parnell. And then in Freelance Wrestling, he was defeated by Trevor Outlaw by DQ. And in House of Glory, he was defeated by Joey Silver. Back in February, Danhausen did appear on Ring of Honor, where he defeated Brandon Cutler. While not currently appearing on AEW television, a few months ago, AEW did post a YouTube video entitled AEW Unresolved Mysteries, like Unsolved Mysteries. Delve into the peculiar mind of Danhausen is the name of the episode. So if you're needing your Danhausen fix and haven't been able to catch him on one of his numerous indie appearances or at a meet and greet, then head over to YouTube and dive into the mystery. Our next face on the milk carton is AR Fox. Last seen in AEW on November 29th episode of Dynamite in 2023, where he was defeated by Wardlow by referee decision. While nothing has ever officially been said by AEW, according to Fightful, AR Fox got some heat for not being forthright about his ability to work overseas in the lead up to All In London, causing AEW to have to pivot at the last minute from the plan of him teaming with Swerve Strickland against Darby Allin and Sting, to AR Fox getting kicked out of the Mogul Embassy and replaced in the match by Christian Cage. He appeared on AEW TV after All In, but he appeared on AEW TV 15 times in 2023 prior to All In, including 4 times where he had a title match. And then, 4 being title matches. And whereas after All In, AR Fox only appeared on TV 4 times total, 1 of which was a title match. While absent from AEW in 2024, he has appeared in Ring of Honor in 4 matches, 3 of which were 4-corner survival matches. He lost every single one of them, and Commander won every single one of them. And then he had a 3-way match in Ring of Honor where he and Blake Christian were defeated by the Beast Mortos. He had a single appearance in March in West Coast Pro where he and Jason Kincaid were defeated by Alpha Zoe. So not any kind of winning streak in 2024 for our friend AR Fox. And lastly, our face on the milk carton, I thought you were going to tell me something, is Britt Baker, or should I say Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who was last seen on AEW September 16th on an episode of Collision in 2023, where Chris Statlander defeated her to retain her TBS championship. Dr. Baker had already taken a step back in 2023, where she only wrestled 22 matches throughout the whole year, a number greatly reduced from her previous number of appearances in the 2020 through 2022 seasons. When asked by Ring the Bell about her step back that she took in 2023, she said, "I think our very passionate fans, they're very vocal with what they want, what they don't want, what they like, what they don't like. We listen. I listen. If they're telling me they want less of something, okay, I hear you loud and clear. A lot of them said, we want less Britt Baker. So if that's what they want, that's what they'll get. Let me take a step back. Here are the rest of the women. Someone else take the ball and run with it and make the women's division about you, and you be the face of the women's division. When no one else can do that, I'll be here to pick up the pieces and do it all over again." However, a month ago, during South by Southwest 2024's Disrupting the Long Monopolized Pro Wrestling Industry segment, AEW President and CEO Tony Khan teased that Dr. Britt Baker might soon make her AEW return. He stated the following: "She was out injured for a while, and now that she's out and about, she could be coming back. She could be coming back soon. You never know when she could return. It's one of those things we have up our sleeve, and it's always fun when you can do those." She has had a few notable non-wrestling appearances in 2024, being spotted at Marvel's Madam Web premiere. And on March 9th, Baker joined Zach Bryan on stage in his concert in Pittsburgh to join him and others in singing Revival on stage. As far as the next time we will see the DMD in the ring, only time will tell. And that is Faces on the Milk Carton. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good job. So let me ask, do we have, I know, well, I feel like the answer is no, because otherwise they wouldn't be on the milk carton. But do we have any dates for their returns?
No.
Possible returns?
No. A month ago was when Tony Khan said Britt Baker may be making a return soon. It was on like March 14th, and today's May 15th or something like that, or April, I don't know. It was like a month or two ago. Danhausen has more independent dates booked going through, I want to say, early August. So, no. As far as I know, no. And then AR Fox seemingly has fallen off of the planet for the most part. He appeared in March, like first week of March, I believe, was his last Ring of Honor date. And those are taped usually several weeks in advance. So, yeah.
Some talented people to have on the sidelines. AEW has a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
You just name it. Kenny Omega, those three. Kenny Omega, MJF, Jamie Hayter.
Well, what I find interesting is like not even looking at their wrestling. When you talk about AEW characters, two characters with the biggest personalities are Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Danhausen. And so you mentioned earlier in the show how kind of AEW, a lot of their wrestlers' personalities are just kind of like, I just want to wrestle. But these are two that are very much in the opposites of that, and they're not being featured right now. And when you add some of the people that are out on injury, it's again those bigger personalities like missing MJF, you know. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. All right, what's next?
Thank you, Kay. Next is a new segment, and it is called Holy Shit, Did You See That? Where we're going to take some things that we saw on AEW television this week and just highlight them because they were exceptionally awesome or brutal or whatever the case may be.
Should I credit the source of this idea?
Who was the source of this idea?
So I'm really into The Walking Dead. I listen to a podcast called The Talking Dead, and they do this with their Walking Dead episodes where they pick their favorite moment from The Walking Dead, and they highlight that every week. There's this called Holy Crap, Did You See That? But we just
we're R-rated here.
We're R-rated here. Yeah. So would you like me to go first?
Or X-rated, you know?
No.
We can be.
No. Anyway, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, so I picked one from each of the two main shows. For Dynamite, my holy shit, did you see that moment was when Swerve was in the ring talking to Christian Cage in front of him. And then he had his Mogul Embassy posse behind him to have his back should Christian and the Patriarchy try anything. And Brian Cage attacking Swerve from behind. I feel like we all kind of thought it might be coming, but just the brutality of that hit from behind with Swerve just being oblivious in the ring, that is my holy shit, did you see that moment for Dynamite? And you want me to go with my Collision one, or do you want to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. In Collision, we had a match between Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson versus Top Flight. And in that match, Darius Martin was the legal man, and so was Bryan Danielson. Darius Martin runs up the turnbuckle pads, flips over, and delivers a Pele kick to Bryan Danielson's head while he's standing behind him. And it was awesome. It was just like, it was like a Matrix level moment. And I love when I get to see those in the ring, and it's not all that often. So that was my holy shit, did you see that moment? Because I think we actually rewound it and watched it again because of how awesome it was. All right, so what do you got?
Well, so my first one for Dynamite is very similar to yours, but it's a different spot in the Swerve sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is when the Gates of Agony threw Swerve through the announcer's table. Because I mean that's big news. That's a big deal. The new world champion getting thrown through the announcer's table. That's a pretty big thing.
Mm-hmm. And AEW doesn't do the collapsed announce table spot very often. Like people go on the announce table sometimes, but like it doesn't always collapse. It's not like as frequently as I was seeing it when I used to watch WWE. So I feel like it has more impact since it happens less frequently,
And my other holy shit, did you see this moment? Is not from Collision or Dynamite. It's from Rampage this week, when Adam Copeland bit the blood capsule and had the blood right here, and then acted totally weird, like something was happening, like he was about to turn into a vampire. So that was my other holy shit. Did you see this moment? Yeah.
Cool. And if you have any holy shit, did you see that moments that you want to share from last week? Feel free to put them in the chat or in the comments section. If you have any that you want us to read on air next week as you watch Dynamite or Collision, feel free to tweet at us. We're happy to share not just our holy shit, did you see that moments, but yours as well.
So, folks, that is the show for tonight. Kay, thank you for being here. Been great as always. We all appreciate it. Couple things. We are doing an AEW Dynamite Watch-Along, which I don't know how I'm going to stay awake through, but we're doing it.
Slap you in the face.
And we're doing it starting, we'll be back on at 7:55, so we'll take about a 15-minute break here and be back on at 7:55. And we have a couple friends coming on, so it's going to be a fun time. What else do we got going on? AEW Weekly will be back to its regular time next week, Monday night at 6 p.m. Same place you watch it, this week, wherever, Twitch, X, or YouTube. And there is new content coming very soon that is not related to AEW. So watch out for that.
Also, the day after our podcast episode airs, we post the audio-only version on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere good podcasts are found. So if you prefer an audio-only version, or if maybe you just can't join us for the live show, make sure you subscribe so you get notifications when any new podcast episodes are uploaded.
Yep.
Also, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and turn on your notifications so that way when we start doing that extra new content, you get notified when it shows up. We also may be doing Saturday. Are we doing a watch-along for Collision?
I think we may. Yeah, I think we probably will do a watch-along for Collision.
So just keep your eye to our X accounts, at No Bones Rasslin, and at Kay Fabulous 80. And we'll post links there as well as reminders about tuning into the watch along if it happens.
Okay. Yeah. So, folks, as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.